What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Again, we're going to continue with these tattoo videos of me explaining my full tattoo experience, especially for getting my first tattoo on one of the most painful areas on the body. But here's my kind of afterthoughts on getting a tattoo on one of the most painful spots on the body. To be said, that's one of the most painful spots on the body. Um, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It did hurt, but as people say, and I've watched tons of videos on this, it was that kind of like annoying pain. And I'll explain later like which part of the tattoo hurt the most, especially with like either the outline or the shading, because I know some people clash on that, saying which one hurts more. And some people say it's the outline that hurts more. Some people say it's the shading that hurts more. But my afterthoughts on this tattoo, my first tattoo being on my ribs, and some of the tattoo artists were joking around with me that were at the tattoo shop that I was getting tattooed at, and my tattoo artist. They were like, I got some balls because I'm getting my. He didn't know that I was getting this as my first tattoo, and he didn't know this was my first tattoo. So I got like a little double whammy here. I got a name on my side, and it was on my ribs, and it was my first tattoo. So that's almost like a triple right there. So it was on one of the most painful spots on the body. It was a name at that, and then it was my first tattoo. So that tells you what kind of level we're on here. But again, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. There was three parts of the tattoo that kind of hurt and annoyed me the most. It was down towards where the actual bone of my hip was, and where that kind of meat of skin is. It hurt right in the middle, but on the back side going towards my actual back hurt. That was another meat spot. And up above where my armpit is, that was another meat spot. So what I got is 5 letters going from the lower part of my armpit all the way down to where my hip bone is. Um, so it is a name. It's 5 letters. So those three parts of the tattoo hurt the most for me. Now, as far as, let's say, shading in the outline, I'm not too sure which one hurt worse. I do know at the end of the tattoo, I got white highlights in the tattoo that made it pop more and stand out better. And I will say that kind of hurt the most just because the tattoo was obviously at its end point and getting to the end point of the tattoo. And that's a well known thing of like the last parts of the tattoo is going to hurt the worst because it's getting to that swelling point. And I will give you this advice: don't take a bunch of breaks. If you, especially if you're getting a rib tattoo, just get it done. Because again, that'll go back to the whole swelling thing. If you keep taking breaks, it'll swell more, swell more, swell more, which means it'll hurt more, hurt more, hurt more. Say that 5 times fast. Hurt more, hurt more, hurt more. Can't do it. But it'll hurt more at the more breaks that you keep taking. Um, another afterthought is I like my tattoo. My tattoo artist was really nice to me. At first, he didn't even know it was my first tattoo. So he was honest with me in saying that in his head he was saying like, "Oh crap, this dude is gonna tap out," because he's had tons of other people get rib tattoos who've gotten other tattoos elsewhere who've tapped out, who have taken literally 15 breaks because they can't handle it. Um, Sorry, there's a cat over there eating. Made a strange noise for a second, but didn't know what it was. My tattoo artist was nice about it. He was honest with me and saying that he was saying "oh crap" in his head because he didn't know it was my first tattoo. He didn't know that I was getting it. He did know that I was getting it on my ribs, but he didn't know it was my first tattoo. So I'll say that. So he was saying "oh crap" in his head, like he's gonna be there all day. I got to his shop around 1:40, almost 2 o'clock. I left at about 7-ish. And the reason why it even took that long was because when I got there, he had just gotten there about 10 minutes ago. And this is something that I'll explain later, because this could be a red flag to new um, tattoo people who are getting their first tattoo. This could be a red flag for you, but it wasn't for me because of the situation. But he was just getting there about 10 minutes earlier before I got there because he forgot that he had to go to a wedding venue for his wedding that's coming up. So that was a thing that I was okay with, of being my first tattoo, and him being there only 10 minutes early, and he wasn't fully prepared for. I won't say he wasn't prepared for the tattoo. His equipment wasn't set up yet. I'll say that. But if you're new to tattooing and getting your first tattoo, and your tattoo artist isn't ready for you when you get there, that could be a red flag for you. But for my situation, it wasn't. And me knowing who the guy was, having decent and good conversations with him beforehand, and him actually being honest with me and letting me know that he was going to be there. He had let me know like the day before that, hey, can we push the tattoo back a little bit? I'm a man and I forgot that I had to go to this wedding venue for my wedding that's coming up. So he was being honest with me, so I said that was cool and that's fine. Yeah, we could push the tattoo back. Keep in mind, this tattoo was 2 hours away, so I had to drive 2 hours to get this tattoo, and then 2 hours back home. So I got back home at around 9 o'clock. So like I said, I finished the tattoo around 7-ish, and then got back home around 9 o'clock. But everything went smooth. He was very clean. That's another red flag that can go up if you're brand new to getting tattooed. If the shop is not clean, run the second you step in there. If you see a bunch of trash everywhere, the walls nasty, you see a bunch of smeared ink all over the place you're about to sit your bare skin down on, is nasty. They don't wipe anything down before you sit down or lay down. The needle's already in the gun. That's a big red flag, that it may not be a brand new needle that's about to be punctured into you, which will cause bacteria and infection. I'll explain all of that in another video as well about that procedure. Basically, overall with that, you basically want it to look like a dentist office. You're about to get your teeth cleaned, but you're getting a tattoo. You want to see all new stuff on that tray, and you want to see a clean tray as well. Like my tattoo artist wiped down his tray and then put film over his tray to let me know that it was fully clean. And he changed his gloves 3 times before he even touched me. So he was getting everything ready, wiped down the little bench, or I guess tattoo bed, if you want to call it that, if that's what the correct term of it is, tattoo bed. Wiped that down, wiped all of his equipment down, re-prepared it, took it all apart, and then put it back together again. So that was cool to see, and that it was really clean. Opened up a brand new pack of needles, new ink, did the tray thing, putting film over the tray and after he cleaned it already. And within all of that, changed his glove 3 times before even touching me. So that let me know right there that I'm gonna have a good non-infected tattoo, especially for my aftercare home part of keeping it clean. I have Saniderm on it right now. He advised me to leave it on for at least 48 hours. If I saw any like peeling up of the tattoo on the outside of the Saniderm, then make sure I quickly swipe it softly to see if I can get that bubble out. And then if not, just wait a little bit longer and then just go ahead and just take it off so that bacteria and stuff doesn't get inside it. And then I still have it stuck on my body, and then the bacteria is just sitting there on my tattoo. That'll be a mistake on my part if I don't do that. And then I wouldn't be listening to his advice correctly. But going back to him being a good tattoo artist and making me feel comfortable, after he found out it was my first tattoo, he just really started talking to me more, and I didn't really need it, but it was definitely a good thing that he did for me. Kept my mind off the pain for the most part. I had my wife there with me as well, so She was talking to me pretty much the whole time and sitting there next to me. We talked about a couple different things just to keep my mind off stuff. Again, I didn't fully need it, but it was awesome to have because it keeps your mind off of all the pain of you thinking, okay, when is he coming back to push that needle back in? When is he coming back to push it back in? A little part that hurt a little more too, I'll say this, is that when they go the long strokes, that kind of hurts a little bit too, especially on the bones. So that to me was kind of like the worst part about it, maybe. Like I said, those other 3 points that I mentioned earlier in the video, those were a good pain part of it too. But I don't want to continue to make this video too much long. I know we're going on about 12 minutes right here. So I'm going to finish up quickly now here. Overall, it was a very good tattoo experience. It was my first tattoo. My tattoo artist made me feel very comfortable. He was very clean. He was very light-handed as well. He wasn't jamming the needle in my skin to make me want to tap out. He did a very nice job. He sat down with me, went over different fonts, and then finally we came to an agreement on him actually using his own font. He's a tattoo artist, so obviously he's gonna do different little tips and tricks and find his own little unique style of tattooing and come up with his own script type of lettering. And that's what we ended up going with. That's what I kind of liked the most. And I'm glad that he finally brought that up. He was like, hey man, you mind if I take about 10-15 minutes and draw something up for you? I was like, yeah, sure, fine, why not? I didn't have to go to work the next day, which is today, but my wife did. So I had time, but I kept in mind her time as well, because I do value her time a lot. She's very busy and does a good job at her job, and it annoys her sometimes, and it's hard, but I love you. But we came to an agreement on his font. It looked really good, and then he told me about like the white highlights in it that he was going to do at the end of the tattoo as well beforehand, before he did it. But that's that. I ended up with a very nice, clean looking tattoo. 3 of the other tattoo artists in that shop came up to it and were shaking their head and doing like this. So that kind of eased my pain, or eased my thoughts even more of like, this was my first tattoo. Oh, is it going to be good? Am I going to regret it? Blah, blah, blah. Those kind of thoughts that you have as getting your first tattoo. So that kind of put me at ease. My wife was saying the same thing to me. So she really liked it. And she was one of the main reasons of why I wanted it to be liked, and whose more opinion I was wanting to like it more, if that's correct. So I was real happy about that. And then me, obviously, if it's going on your body and going to be on your body forever, you need to like it as well. So I got up after the tattoo was done, looked in the mirror, had everybody take pictures of it, because everybody really did like it, and send me their photos. I took my own picture too as well, and it turned out great. I have no complaints with it whatsoever. Now it's time for me to do my part in the aftercare process. And so to finish this up and wrap this up, overall, my first tattoo on my ribs, on one of the most painful spots on the body, it was good. There was a little bit of pain, but you can take it. I promise. I am a very low pain tolerance person. So if you're worried about your pain tolerance, again, everybody is different based on their pain tolerance. Some people have a high pain tolerance. Some people have a low pain tolerance. We were talking about this too, of like women having a higher pain tolerance because they can deal with the period pains and giving birth pains. So that's something that kind of raises the body's pain tolerance of women. And a lot of guys have the lower pain tolerance sometimes with not dealing with birth and periods. So that's 2 of the little insights of tattooing. But I was fine. I'm a very low pain tolerant person, so I had some things there in the tattoo shop with me that kind of kept my mind off of the pain. I did bring 2 towels with me to use as pillows. I had one underneath my right hip and then one on my head. The one on my right hip, I just basically used it for the pressure and the pain that was going to be associated with my right hip of laying down on my side like this and having my arm up in the air. So I had this left hand and arm grabbing my pillow like this just to rest my head on it as well. And then I had the other towel on my right hip just to ease the pain of my right hip of sitting there for a few hours getting the tattoo. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I had a very good experience for my first tattoo on one of the most painful spots on my body. It wasn't bad at all. I'm glad I did it. I don't regret it. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Please click on to the next video of my first tattoo process. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.